Hey everyone, happy, I guess, almost fall. I'm rolling out the fall early. I already have leaves falling outside my window from all the heavy rain we got this year. Up way up north, right near the Canadian border, we already have trees that are in full, basically starting to change already over into like their full, yellows and oranges and all that. So we're calling it the fall now, I guess. But we're in autumn, and boy, I'm cranking this out. I know this is a time when people usually take it a little bit easier. For me, I've got to keep pushing a little bit harder, a little bit harder. Maybe around December we'll start to slow down again for maybe a month or so. But the next couple months we gotta go pretty much balls to the wall. Yeah. And so with that, now that I'm coming back with a bit more fire than I had, back for most of August, there's an important idea I want to share with you, and it's really simple, but it's not easy to emotionally accept, which is the idea that your challenge is not your creativity. The obstacle you're going to face as a writer is not being more creative. The obstacle you're going to face is getting things done. It's actually submitting work out. It's getting your stories out there. There are a lot of creative people that will never have their work read because they don't finish stuff. And so you as a writer, you don't need more creativity. I don't think you need more inspiration in general. I think you need a more tightly focused deadline to get it done. And with that, I know there's a whole psychological thing surrounding that, right? I know the moment that you have to share the work with somebody else, with the world here, that you start getting that little fear and trepidation. I myself am gonna start kind of a regular monthly thing in my state where I'll be reading my work at a local library here, just as a kind of a monthly thing. And even looking at stories that I've finished, that for this year I have done, finished, sent off to magazines, and now looking at that I have to read, potentially I'm going to be reading out loud now. I know that fear is coming to me now too. I'm looking at it. I'm already tinkering with certain sentences to make them sound better when I read them aloud. I'm already playing around with that stuff, kind of separate from what I'm doing here. But I know the feeling. I know the feeling, the worry and the panic and the sort of like, oh my God, people are going to see this. Oh no, I need to change this. It's terrible. I get all that. That's not going to go away. That idea that the more skilled you become, the better your work is, the less you have to worry about it, and the less you're going to find incorrect with your work, or the less mistakes you'll find. It does not happen that way. You're always going to feel that your work is not there. And so, what I'd encourage you to do, and I've said this before, I think maybe a couple of weeks ago, is set tighter deadlines and stick to them. Submit work that's 80% good. Submit work that maybe is not complete yet, in the sense that if you give yourself a deadline of like 1 month from now, I'm going to have the story revised, edited, and sent off. Send it off at the end of the month, even if it's not done. Send it off. Too many times we give ourselves this last minute panic and this last minute where we give into it. And you've seen on this channel what happens, right? You've seen me where I spin my wheels forever, and then I finally, make that declaration. I'll be like, by the end of this weekend, my thing's going to be done, right? What happens? The story gets done, right? Is it the most perfect story I've ever written? No. Are there mistakes that actually show up? Yes. I actually, one of my stories that I finished, I had to go back later on and actually take about a day or two to go through and make corrections, because there were some grammatical things that were incorrect, even though I thought it was done, right? The reason why is I sent it off. I said, this is when it's done, and that's when I'm finished with the story. Even knowing that, even grammatically, it wasn't perfect, I sent it off anyways, at least initially. Then I came back and did my edits and all that stuff. Because there has to be a final point. You have to set yourself a final sort of deadline. You have to give yourself a moment where this ends here, no more. Otherwise, you're gonna mentally give yourself a pass every single time to keep pushing this deadline back, and it's never gonna happen. Your story's never gonna get done. No one's ever going to read it. And so, what I'd say is your creativity is probably fine. What you lack are those deadlines and those commitments to getting your work done. It's not easy, but setting a deadline at the beginning of a project to make sure that you get it done is going to get you, I think, a lot further than if you were to just keep spinning your wheels constantly trying to get this stuff done, right? I think if we spend all our time trying to perfect our work, nothing gets done, as opposed to being okay sending off something that's 70 or 80% good and just accepting that it's not perfect. I can tinker with it at another time, but I'm getting this sent off now. And it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to have something done. It's a good feeling to look in your kind of your folder there, maybe on your computer, and seeing the work that's actually completed, that you actually can show people. Yeah. And so with that, I'll sign off here. I'm not sure how much more I can reiterate the idea of that, but again, creativity is not your issue. It's a lack of setting deadlines and sticking to them.